What's up, everybody? We are sitting inside of a real world spreadsheet that I use in our coffee business. This is an inventory management order form thing that we've got linked up to several different cafes for a few different reasons. Making a blank template did not work as good as simply duplicating this and then clearing out all of the information that had been entered in it in the prior month. To do that, you can just go through here and highlight rows that you want to delete and make sure you don't delete rows like this that have formulas in them, and go through one by one every sheet and delete it all by hand, which I did the first few months. I got to be pretty tedious though, and so I realized with some Googling around that you can actually go into Google Apps Script, which is up here on extensions, and you can open up a code editor and write custom code inside or behind the scenes of your spreadsheet to do things exactly like what I needed to do. This is what you'll see when you first open it up. It's function, my function. We got some parentheses and some curly braces. And inside those curly braces is where you will write your code. You're basically writing JavaScript here. But if you don't know JavaScript, like I didn't when I started, the documentation is quite good. And you can usually find, as I did, built-in methods, which are kind of like miniature programs or scripts that we can plug together, piece together in order to get it to do what we need to. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here is the code that I actually use, and it's composed of 3 functions. So I've got this function right here in the first 19 lines. It's called onOpen, and that's kind of a special function. This just runs on opening, so whenever I open the spreadsheet, and what it does is create this menu up at the top, which is not normally there, called Amen. And that holds these 2 menu items, which are themselves functions. So when I click clear range, just like you would expect if you clicked file download, something's going to happen. It's going to clear the ranges because I've programmed this clear range function to do that. The meat and potatoes of what I needed to do, though, was to make this clear range function. Again, we've got the function name, parentheses, and then curly braces open here. And this right here, these next several 6, 7 lines, I did on each of the tabs. So each of the store tabs and a couple other tabs needed to do exactly the same thing on slightly different ranges of information. What we did is we created a variable at the top called sheet, and all this stuff is just built-in methods built into the apps script. So someone at Google has programmed getActive and getSheetByName to basically grab the information in the quarter sheet tab and hold that in a variable that I'm calling sheet. I could have called it not sheet or blanket or whatever. It doesn't matter. Variable names are exactly that. They can be whatever you want them to be. Then down here, we're using dot notation. See these dots, these periods in between these things here? We're using dot notation on sheet. So this is the variable we just made. We're then using it down here to say, hey, in that quarter tab, get the range. There's another built-in method. Get the range D6 through F103, and then dot, and go ahead and clear the contents of that range. So I didn't have to learn how to write complicated code here. I just had to find the right code already written and then plug it in syntactically correct so that it would do what I needed it to do. And as you can see, I did that for each tab for the various ranges I needed to clear. And I've even got another function down here that is not something we'll talk about today that makes exporting some data easier for me. And I again named that something else and went through some other built-in functions to do that for me. Hey, I hope this encourages you to not be super intimidated by Google Apps Script. If you've heard of it and wanted to check it out, or if you have checked it out and you've gone to the documentation and been like, whoa, this is overwhelming, don't be. Keep Googling around for specific problems you need to solve and dive into them, kind of like I did here. I mean, I didn't know anything about JavaScript at this time. I'd looked at Python, I think, at the time and knew a little bit about the structure of programming, but that was about it. I hadn't gone into it very much. It is very accessible, especially if you know a specific problem. Hope you'll check that out. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, and if I can help in any way, I will. You're awesome. Have a great one.